Welcome to Unapologetically Anxious Me, Confessions of a Haitian Girl, the podcast where I blend life, love, sex, and relationships with mental health, social issues, and history, all from my very unabashed perspective. Join me, Joe Ciceron, as we unravel the power of vulnerability, celebrate storytelling, our history, and connect with incredible individuals who have tales to share. Let's dive deep into our essence and the narratives that mold us, because in this space, we believe in the magic of authenticity and the beauty of being unapologetically you. Welcome to another episode of Unapologetically Anxious Me, Confessions of a Haitian Girl. I'm your host, Joe, and today I am with the lovely Frank from Peacock's Couple to Throuple. So how are you doing? How's it going?
I'm doing great. I'm doing really good, actually. Been on a high, since the show came out. So, and just riding the wave, reaping all the benefits of my hard work.
I love that. I love that. Thank you again for being here and showing up. I'm really, really appreciative. And I just am so excited to have this conversation with you because I was completely drawn to the show immediately. I too am in a polyamorous relationship with my husband. Ooh. We've been together for almost 20 years. We've been in the non-monogamy lifestyle type of space for probably about 7 years now. We still consider ourselves newbies. I'm still learning.
So you guys started off as monogamous for what was that? 13 years?
Yeah, pretty much. We were high school sweethearts, so we've been together pretty much for our entire adult.
He's the only one. He's the only
one. He's my best friend. He's literally my best friend, and I think we just grew together, but I think very early on in our relationship, we realized that we had these non-monogamous ideas. We just didn't have the terms for it, or we just weren't in a place where we can actually say this is what it's called. So it's been interesting the last few years getting into that and learning. I had Maximo and Ash on my podcast last.
Oh, I saw.
Yeah, and we talked a lot about the show as well, and that was one of the things that I shared with them, was that a throuple was actually my very first serious connection in a poly situation with me and my husband. And we've been in a couple of different situations since then, but our very first time dipping our toes in that was in a throuple situation. We had no idea all of the work and all of the communications and the difficulty that would go into doing that. So
I can see how difficult that would be, kind of especially being in a 13-year relationship and then having to bring someone else in there. It's kind of you're starting all over.
Yes, absolutely. You're listening to Unapologetically Anxious Me, Confessions of a Haitian Girl, and this is our new series, Throuple Talk, with Frank Edward from Peacock TV's Couple to Throuple.
Yeah, I'm just so proud. I'm actually proud of how I was perceived on the show. So with that, I have good feelings all day.
Oh, great. I really, really enjoyed watching the show. You were one of the people that I was just I really want to get to know his perspective, especially as a Black poly person. It is very, very difficult to find people that you relate to, or even people within our community who are open and honest about this lifestyle, about being polyamorous. And so I'm so excited to hear where you started and what made you want to go on Couple to Throuple.
Yeah, absolutely. I started dating my ex-fiance, 5 years ago. And that was the first male relationship I've ever been in. Kind of, I guess, gay relationship I've ever been in. Before I used to date women, but I guess I was masculine, but that's a whole nother story. But
we'll get into it.
Let's get into it, honey. Yeah, let's get into it. Because But yeah, so I started dating him back in 2017. And for the first year, we were monogamous, strictly monogamous. Second year, we started like introducing like, thirds, like threesomes, just having fun or whatever.
Mhm.
And after we entered our first threesome, it was over after that. We were just having threesomes all this time.
Yep.
you know?
Once you start, it's difficult to go back.
I know. I was like, how could you not like this? Like, the more the merrier, literally. But I know it's crazy, right? But yeah. So that happened, and actually, truth is, I went onto the show to experience poly. You
Okay,
know
so
what I mean?
you had never been poly before.
I had never been in an actual throuple relationship.
Okay.
So I was actually one of the singles on the show that had like little to like no knowledge of it.
Hmm.
But of course I knew what it was, being the lifestyle I was living. It's kind of like just comes up.
Yeah.
But yeah. On the show was my first time experiencing being in a poly relationship.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people usually go into the poly life experimenting with their partner. And so I
Hmm.
think that starting off in like the swinger type of
Hmm.
lifestyle is kind of natural because it's a lot easier, I feel, to acknowledge your sexuality versus, like your
Emotion.
emotional,
Yeah.
you know, I guess where you are emotionally, and that's like more difficult. So I think that a lot of people who are poly and who are in a couple situation, they tend to start off as like going into the swinger type of world,
Hmm.
and they slowly kind of move into other styles of relationship,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially when they are starting to grow feelings for people and they are connecting. Because at the root, I think if you're poly, that's just who you are. And
Hmm.
while there is this lifestyle connotation that is given to people who are poly or who are ethically non-monogamous,
Hmm.
in general, I think that while it is a lifestyle in some way, it's also just your orientation. It's just who
Yeah.
you are. And I think if you're a poly person, it just comes out in that way. And you
Yeah. It's just yeah.
just believe in the abundance of love and being able to
Hmm.
connect with multiple people.
I feel like sometimes in our community, I feel like poly could be forced, like a forced action.
Yep.
You know what I mean? A lot of people want to be poly, and they'll try it, and they're going through all kind of emotional distress because like they're really not that person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
They're
that's just
not
not who you
ready.
are.
I've said this before, but I really feel there's a learning curve and just
Mm-hmm.
an adjustment period to becoming poly. But when it is in you, it's just in you and it's hard to not
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge. And
Exactly.
so when did that first pop up for you of like, I was it just through like the swinging type of things that you were doing with your partner, or
Well, it was a swinging. It started off with that, and then from there, it's kind of like you'll meet someone that you like, and then you're like talk to them again, and you start to swing with them a lot. You're like, I actually like this person. Let me get to know
Mhm.
them a little bit more. But I never really crossed that line of like diving into deep emotions with that person. It was always just like hanging out with them and just liking who they are as a person, but never diving in really deep, with that person. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's what sparked the idea. I was like, look, I kind of want to do that. I love love. I love giving love, and I love receiving love. So why not love multiple people at once and be loved by multiple people?
I love that.
Hmm.
So, you tell me a little bit about your background, like where are you from, like ethnicity, all of the good stuff.
Absolutely. So a lot of people know that I'm actually from Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
From Dallas, Texas. I am Nigerian, 95% Nigerian, to be
I'm
exact.
Haitian. We connected. We
I
connected.
know, yeah, that's fine. That's all I buy. I was like, okay, I'm definitely gonna do
Yeah, I
this.
felt the vibe immediately.
Yeah. I actually grew up. So I grew up in Dallas, Texas, until I was 14. moved to California, and I completed high school out in California in a place called Moreno Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I did college out there too. I studied dental hygiene, so I am a dental hygienist by trade. So that's a fun little fact.
You have a beautiful smile. That makes sense.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. So I grew up with my mom, my stepdad, and my three sisters. My three sisters. So that's that's also why I'm like super protective over women. But yeah. So I grew up with them. We had a good life. We had a great life growing up. Nothing too crazy. Yeah. But from there, I moved to London for about 2 years, and
Wow.
I did modeling in London with a guy named Cameron Wilson. Shout out to Cameron Wilson.
Nice.
He took some great pictures of me. Okay, no, but
I appreciate that.
I was like, that's me. I was like, that's me. Oh my god, what? Yeah, but so a little bit about my high school. I was always like the quiet one in high school, like always like the really quiet, shy guy that always avoided crowds. And, I've always known I was gay, but I didn't want to say anything, but everyone knew already. It was just like awkward. So like growing up and finally get out of high school, I finally like embraced myself and like
Yeah.
kind of just said, forget it. I am what I am. And they clearly know anyway. So it's like, so why am I hiding it anymore? I remember when I came out to my mom, I remember, I think I was at the Abbey. I just came up to my mom when I was 25.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
how old are you now?
So I am now 33.
Oh, okay. So not too long ago.
Not too long
Oh,
ago.
what was mama's reaction?
Oh my gosh. It was the funniest shit I've ever experienced in my life. So I'm at the Abbey. It's like a club in like West Hollywood. And I'm just all like distraught. I'm finna come out because I was already with my guy for about 2 years at the time. And I was just like,
Okay.
we had took a really cute picture, and I'm like, I'm gonna post it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna post it on my Facebook. No one knows.
Do it.
In my head, right? So I called my mom before I posted it. I'm like, Mom, and I'm like bawling, crying. I'm like, I think I'm gonna have like this terrible rejection. And I'm thinking, no, but I called, Mom, are you sitting down? Are you sitting down? And she's like, what the fuck is going on? She's like,
Oh my
what do you
God.
want?
That's not
Right?
the way you open.
Right. I was like, are you sitting down? And she was like, yes, what? I was like, I'm gay. And she was like,
Boy. Really?
boy, I already knew.
She knew.
She said, I already knew. She said, now just call me back before my phone died. I was like, just like that? I'm over here just shocked. And I'm like, no.
You say over here like, I thought someone died. This is what telling me shit I already know. Like, I'm your mom, of course.
Right. And that started like a whole chain of events of me calling everybody. I was like, fuck that. I'm gonna get a reaction today. I did not wait this long not to have a reaction, okay? So I said, okay, put dad on the phone. I'm gonna shock his ass real quick.
Yeah.
He goes, I already knew, son. Like, we were just waiting for you to tell me. I was like, put my baby sister on the phone. How about that?
I'm telling.
I'm telling everybody. I called my auntie, my grandma. They all knew. I'm like, what the heck? Like
That's incredible. That's amazing, especially not only just being Nigerian, but also just being a Black man in our community and experiencing coming out to your family. The fact that like it was such a casual thing, as if you're telling them, I'm thinking about getting a Honda. What do you think?
Right.
Like they were exactly. Like, it was just a chill moment. Like it wasn't anything big. And I think that's anything, like that's what anybody who is queer can only hope for from their parents.
Yeah. And I'm super grateful because I know it doesn't happen like that a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful about, my situation.
Yeah, that's very, very special, and it's good for you. And shout out to your mom, like, and your parents in general. You got it
Right?
good. I love that.
One love, one love.
So we met you on the show, Couple to Throuple, of course, and you, one of the first times that you really like stood out was when you started connecting with Rahman and Ashma.
hmm
So tell me about that connection. Like, where did that start, and like how'd you feel at the end?
Well, you know what? Obviously there's two of them, and like I said, when I first saw them, when we walked up the little threshold thing, and I first saw them, my eyes were immediately drawn toward Ashma.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Ashma, he just embodies like he's funny, he's hairy, like he has like
Mm-hmm.
a nice smile, all that
Yeah.
stuff. So like, you know what? I like this guy. And his partner's not that bad either. So let me go for them. You know what I mean? So, right? I was like, I'm honored, like I was more attracted to Ashma, but Ramon's beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would say Ashma was the reason I was drawn to the couple.
I could
And
tell that. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. He gives all that I wanted. I was like, okay, my experience here is going to be good. Thank God.
Mm-hmm.
Because I finally I could see somebody that I actually like. But the experience with all, it was there were ups and downs. You know, I felt like I honestly felt like I was like a not a third choice, but a second choice. You know what I mean?
Maybe like a placeholder.
A place that too. Okay, like that too. I feel like because I feel like throughout the show they talked about me a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all mentioned.
You were talked about a lot. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I was always mentioned. So obviously there was some type of
Attraction.
connection there,
Yeah.
yeah, or attraction there. But I think once Jonathan got in the house, and I feel like once Ramon kind of like
That is sight
started
on him. Yeah.
yeah had a sight on him. I
Yeah.
feel like that's when I just became kind of like a placeholder
Right.
whenever he left the house. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I tried to steer that away, but it was just it was hard. You know?
Yeah, so it felt like, from the viewer perspective, it definitely felt like he had tunnel vision and
hmm
could not get past that initial connection, which was sad because I could really, really tell that there was such a strong connection between you and Ashmal, and not that that connection wouldn't have existed or couldn't exist for you and Rahman. He was just
hmm
so blinded by what he was
Yeah.
experiencing and his emotions that he was
hmm
kind of in his own little bubble and cloud and didn't really acknowledge where you were.
And I was literally right there. Like
Yeah, yeah, we saw you were
I
right.
know that was so awkward. And like, let me say this before we continue. Ramon has been working on himself. I was just with him the like last week or so.
Oh, cool.
Maybe 2 weeks. He's been working on himself. He is a different person now. He's not the same person that he was on the show. He's actually been putting in work to work on himself. So so
Right.
so I do applaud him for that. But
Nice.
back to the show.
During that time.
During that time, okay, it was so awkward. It was like the most awkward situation I've ever been in my life. Especially like there was a scene where we were all sitting at the table for breakfast,
Hmm.
and and I guess Ramon had heard that Maximo Nash had caught a liking to Jonathan, and Jonathan had just left the house.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my gosh! And mind you, I'm sitting right there, and
Right there.
Ashma
Like,
has his
what
hand
the
over me, just
fuck?
like rubbing me, like I'm so sorry.
Like
I'm
the
so sorry.
entire time I was watching, I was just like, what the fuck? I felt
I know. I'm like,
so much
hello, me over
empathy
here,
for
this big
you.
tall
Like,
black guy right here.
like you are not chopped liver. Like, so y'all just gonna pretend like I'm not here. Like, that's what we do
Right,
it.
right. And when I tell you, I have never been put in a situation like that in my entire life.
Yeah.
Okay, like feeling like I'm like just like a feeling. It's like, okay, like should I leave? Actually, one of the nights, the recoupling, where I had that god awful green thing on my head. I don't know why I wore that, but I had it on, okay, and I regret it.
You're like, don't judge
But
me.
it was
I was
so
trying
big here. I was like, what am I doing? But I was like, what the fuck is going on? No, but that night, actually, before going out to the thing, I had already made my mind up that I was going to leave the house.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't like whenever they said that they wanted to stay with me, I had, but so basically going onto the stage, I'd already made my mind up that I was leaving the house.
Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to be leaving. I was not gonna stay with them. I was gonna swap. Okay. But once, honestly, once Jonathan went into the house with Maximo and Ash,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, sign me up. I said, I'll stay. I said, I'll stay. I'll stay. I was like, I would stay. Okay, this is gonna be good.
Yeah, like things are gonna turn around.
I know things gonna turn around. I said, he's with someone else. So
Yeah.
maybe it's gonna put them on the right track. Towards
Aw,
the right one.
sorry, poor.
But yeah,
It didn't
poor
happen.
little old me. Like.
Yeah, those feelings were strong.
Wrong. I was like, how? They didn't show this, but at one point I asked Jonathan, I was like, Jonathan, what the heck did you do?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
what
I want to
what
know
did you do to
too.
him?
I'd love to know too.
Right?
Like Jonathan's got the touch.
Right, you got the touch. And that's why I came at Jonathan. One thing we were sitting at the table again, and I was like, slow and steady wins the race. And I was like, you just jump right into it. And he was like, no, I didn't. And then they showed a clip of him literally like the second day.
Literally.
I was like,
You do know it's recorded, right?
I know, right? What are you talking about, Jonathan? Y'all jumped right into it, Jonathan.
Mm-hmm.
But no, but it is what it is. Like I said, my overall experience was great. It was a little awkward, but I had a great time meeting people and all
Yeah.
that stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, and we saw how like obviously when they like picked Jonathan to like come back in, like we saw how emotional you got. Do you feel that had Jonathan not been in the picture, or had you been in a situation where you were dating probably more authentically as polyamorous people and allowed to date one person in a couple and maybe another in another couple without having to date both people, do you think it would have made a difference as to how your journey turned out? If you were able to just grow your connection with Ashmal and that was allowed, and not having to pursue, but you guys having to be worried about pursuing a throuple versus just connecting.
Absolutely. Like I feel like if that was the case, which would have been a great case, I feel like me and Ashmal would probably still be together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
honestly, I feel like I feel like the connection was there. But obviously he had to kind of follow his partners. If he has a mutual attraction to Jonathan and his partner is like in love with Jonathan, why not just go there and not cause problems? Separating. You know what I mean? But I definitely think my experience would have been completely different. I definitely would have got to know Ashmal more. And I feel like it would have been a really fun experience with him.
Yeah, I can tell. I can see that. And I wanted that for you too.
Yeah, because like he'd do like little things, like we'd be sitting and talking, and then like it'd be awkward moments, and then he'd do like little things, like put his like hand on me, kind of like just make sure like I was okay and things like that. I was like, no, that. Well, like one of my things is touch. You know what I mean? So if you can like kind of soothe me by touch and also is reassurance too. To be honest, I'm not needy, but I do like reassurance.
Yeah.
But right.
I think we all like that. That's just
right. Do things like that. Yeah, I thought that was great.
Have you seen Ashmal since you filmed the show?
Yeah, I actually have. I saw him during at the same time I saw Jonathan, the whole cast during our finale in the West Hollywood.
Are you guys having a reunion? You filmed a reunion?
I We haven't filmed the reunion yet, but there is talk about him. So we'll hopefully,
Yay!
hopefully we do have a reunion.
Oh, I need it.
Yeah,
I need
yeah,
that.
yeah. So let's talk. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely talk amongst us about it. But definitely, I feel like a reunion is needed. A lot of good stuff has happened, so I feel like people will want to know, like for sure.
I would love that. Like, I have so many questions for the cast. I
Yeah.
would love to see you guys like do a reunion and see what everyone's feeling and where everyone's at now that it's been what,
Mhm.
a year since.
A year, yeah. February made it
Wow.
a year. February 14th. We flew out on Valentine's Day.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
How long were you in the filming process?
I was in the filming process from since day one.
So, like, how many days is that for those of us who don't know? Like, how?
Um, so filming process meaning like first time on camera
Hmm.
or like the first time in the house.
The first time in the house.
Oh, the first time in the house. So I was in the house. So I spent half and half. So we were out there for like a month. So I spent about 2 weeks out of the house and about a week and a half in the house.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm. But in reality TV show world, I guess they say um, every so and so hours, every day equals 3 days.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay.
But we also had like these like blackout days too. I'm not sure if anyone told you about those.
No.
Well, so blackout days are days like when the producers, because they got to take a break too.
Right.
So that's the day where all cameras are shut off, and like that day is erased.
Oh,
Okay,
good.
like so,
What
like
did you do?
let's say
Sitting at the house?
right, they put us in like really nice hotels. We have like really good food and shit. They definitely treat us right. Shout out to Peacock. But yeah. So let's say me and Jonathan had a fight, and we like actually brawled, or whatever, which didn't happen. But we actually brawled, and then the next day was a blackout day. We make up during that blackout day. The next day, we gotta act like,
Like you're still brawling, like continuity. So like
oh yeah,
you have to continue doing like the same thing from the last time that you were actually filmed.
oh yeah, yeah.
That's
Talk about the waking up. That was crazy. Did they talk to you about that?
no.
So we'll go to sleep. So we can't sleep with our mics on, right? So we take our mics off. That producers they'll take the mics, go charge them or whatever, and we'll go to sleep. In the morning time, lights are on. Like the lights just cut on, right? And then you hear good morning, good morning, good morning. So you wake up. They come in here and they put your mics back on, right? You
Mhm.
get 10 minutes or so before that happens. Lights off. You go back to sleep. You wake up with the mics on. You have the same conversation you just had. Like I'm like, okay. So I just like it just
Like,
gave me like time to like think about like something to say, because you're
yeah.
filming 24/7. You don't want to like get like. Mhm.
That's interesting. Now, I think that one of the things that they really missed on for this season, I'm sure I'd love for this to continue to more seasons and for us to continue to see this because I thought this was a great show, like a great place to start, at least, although there can be changes. I
Mhm.
think one of the things that I noticed is that they did not highlight the singles as much as they should have. Everything was very couple focused, and it was almost like you were all being forced to date within a monogamous like
Yeah.
setting where
Yeah.
it made no sense because it's polyamory and polyamory's about multiple abundant
Multiple. Yeah.
loves. And so
Hmm.
it would have made sense for you to be able to test out like different connections and to spend time with them to actually see. Like what was it like behind the scenes when you were like when you weren't being like on camera or when you weren't like involved in a couple situation, like what were you witnessing as a single and what were they doing with you?
So as a single, so I wouldn't say lockdown at all, but they definitely had to keep us like away from the public eye.
Like
you know,
corn.
before we even got on the show, we had to quarantine for like 2 weeks, isolation by ourselves.
Right.
Burner phone, 4 or 5 contacts, and a fucking yoga mat. And like literally, that's all we had.
You're like, peace out, good luck.
Right, like literally a yoga mat. I had a yoga mat. I asked for a jump rope, and I had a word puzzle book. Okay,
Oh
and
my
I had
God.
YouTube. Okay, and then like so, we had designated times to go into the gym. Like, we had to go into the gym by ourselves. We couldn't have anyone else to touch the gym, so we had to kind of like piece it out like that. We had chaperones everywhere we went. If you go in an elevator, we couldn't look at anybody. Turn around. If someone asked us, "Are we shooting? Or what are we shooting? Or am I the guy that they just saw shooting outside that was shooting?" I had to say no. And I'm
Yeah.
I'm kind of hard to miss. I'm the tallest guy in Panama right now. Literally, I
Like,
am the
just look
biggest guy
up.
Panama has ever seen. And you tell me that they clearly know it was me. You know, I'm like, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I don't know what you want me to say. No, but that was before the filming. But during the filming, we still had our same chaperones. Loved the chaperones. We had a great time. The singles never got to interact with each other outside of the mixers.
Really?
Let me rephrase that.
Okay.
Sometimes we'll see each other in passing, like going like to like sometimes they'll take us to they'll take us to go eat at the restaurants, and then we'll see the singles, like only a select amount of singles there, but we couldn't talk about the show.
Oh.
Because they wanted any conversation about the show to be on the show. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
So we couldn't talk about the show. So whenever we met up, I remember my group of people I met up with all the time was Lena, Chris, um, not Jonathan, because Jonathan was always in the house. It's Lena, Chris, right. He was working. Lena, Chris, and those were and Peach, and John and Junior.
Mm-hmm.
Those were like my couple of people I like hang out with a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we'll see each other through passing like that. We could talk about the show. If we weren't out eating or at the or getting like an hour of like a workout or hour of sun, we'd be back in our hotel rooms watching YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So they never really gave us like a chance to like really get to know each other.
Yeah.
Aside from those little times, but I definitely think that would have been great to kind of connect with them more, and like kind of see how that would have worked out. Because I feel like a lot of us would have like actually like dated each other.
Yeah, because I remember, that's why I was curious, because I remember that scene, and I'm guessing maybe that was like orchestrated. I remember that scene in the show where I believe it was Becca and Sanu, and they're in a pool, and they're hanging out, and they had a little thing. And I was like, yes, like this.
That was spicy.
Like this is a natural thing that's happening, because it shouldn't just be about the couples who their third is, and whether that fits into their relationship. Like it should be about everybody and everybody finding connections.
Right.
And so that was one of the moments where I was just like, "Ooh, you're really missing, you're missing like a huge opportunity to show like solo polyamory versus polyamory within a relationship. Like there's so many different things that we could have been educating the public about. I think that was just a missed opportunity, because did you get to have more of those moments, or were those just not filmed?
There were definitely more of those moments. There were like a lot of moments like that, but they weren't well, they were filmed, but they were probably just cut out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially like during the did we do that during the what's the name? The block situation. Do you remember that game we shot? Everyone was kissing everybody that night. Shit, I like, and they cut out a lot of shit that was happening.
I remember. Yes, the block when you guys were doing, what was it,
Yeah,
yeah.
Because I remember I kissed Darian that night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I kissed Darian. It wasn't anything crazy, but like we definitely like kind of like kissed.
Yeah.
But I kissed Darian. I briefly kissed like I did a little peck with Ash.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, Maximum Ash.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they only focused on me and the boys, and I think that was pretty hot too. But
Yeah. So, did you have connections with other people in the house?
you mean other singles or other couples?
Other couples?
No, that's one of the downfalls too, because my couple was the only couple open to dating men,
Oh, okay. Okay.
gay men. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
that made sense. Yeah.
it was mostly heterosexual, with the exception of the females in bisexual relationships.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You know,
Did
I
you
didn't
have
have
a
that many
connection
options.
with Maximo and Ash?
No, I didn't have a connection with Maximo Nash. That was strictly the game. But I think they're great people, but they had more of a connection with Junior.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, they had more of a connection with Junior. I think they even brought him to the house at one point.
Yeah, he was
Um,
your first choice.
yeah, he was their first choice. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. Yeah, but they had a connection with him. We didn't really have anything in common.
Right.
Like just them and Maximo and Ash and Junior, they connected like right off the bat. Like
Mhm.
I remember seeing them at one of the mixers, and I was just like, wow, their connection is just like crazy. They were like, laughing and jumping up and hugging each other. I was like, wow, this is actually a genuine connection right here.
Mhm.
But yeah, but I didn't have any connection with anyone else in the house except for I had a best friendship with Sean. Me and Sean were like best friends in the house.
Mhm. Did you
Hmm.
think it would have made a difference if they actually had a much more variety of different types of couples who were bisexual, heterosexual?
Absolutely, I feel like it would have been a way better experience for everyone because like a lot of people felt like they were just kind of like in like one of those little things where you put a quarter in and kind of like
Mhm.
twist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
You're like,
let's see what I get this time. Like
yeah, yeah,
without actually giving everybody a chance. You know what I mean? But I definitely feel like if there was more variety of sexuality,
hmm,
I feel like it would have definitely been a better experience. Like I feel like if I had more options, I feel like if there were more options, Chris would have got a house, Junior would have got, had a
right.
better chance of kind of like actually actually experiencing polyamory. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? A lot of people went over there to experience it and they didn't experience it.
In what ways do you think your experience of like being a black poly man has influenced your approach to relationships and your understanding of intersectionality?
I feel like being who I am and being poly hasn't really been like a challenge or anything. That's not like within myself. You know what I mean? Like I like me thinking about it. Like I think that is this person going to accept me? You know, or how am I going to be perceived being who I am? Because I don't look like your typical like gay guy. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of people they see me and they're like, I consider no such thing as a typical gay guy. Forget I said that, but like a lot of people look at me and they don't automatically think that I'm gay.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So for me to be like, hey, I'm gay and I'm poly, I like to date multiple men at once. You know what I mean? It's kind of scary because like it's like, are they going to like judge me or going to accept me for who I am? But like I've had like nothing but like positive feedback and like great energy towards me, since coming out poly.
So, do you only date assigned at birth men?
I have only dated assigned at birth men and women, but more men now. I tell people I'm 70-30. No, but I have only dated, but I do consider myself um what's the word?
A mab. Yeah.
AMAT.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely be down to date someone that's not, that doesn't
Trans
identify with who they were at
or
birth, for sure.
non-binary.
You're
Got it.
non-binary. Of course. I just never. I don't think I'm around um um a not non-binary people enough for me to actually get a connection. You
Hmm.
know, with them. I feel like if I hang out with them, I like the times I do hang out with them. I love them. I think they're like the
Yeah.
greatest people. You know
I
what I mean? It's like they're so free spirited. They're just like, fuck what you
the
think. I
most
am what I am, and I do what I do.
spirited
You know
people.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Period.
I think
And how could you not fall in love with someone like that?
Absolutely. I think people who have the blessing of somebody like that in their lives, like you really begin to really see like the beauty behind like thinking outside the box and being non-binary and what that really means to a person and like the spirit behind it. And I think that's really beautiful once you've connected with somebody like
Yeah.
that and you
Especially that
understand
they
their
just like
identity.
let all their walls down. They let all the walls down. They're just like, this is who I am. Accept me. Don't accept me. I'm still this person. If you like me,
Like,
like me. If you don't, move on.
that in itself is sexy as fuck.
Right, it is, right? Ooh, it's hot.
So, would you go back on a show like this?
A dating show? Yeah.
Yeah.
I, I would go back on it, especially knowing the process now. I feel like I'll be better equipped to kind of like emotionally handle it. As you guys know, I'm a very emotional person. Um, but yeah, emotionally handling it. I definitely would do it again. But I feel like this time around I'll be like a little bit more open. I was nervous as hell on the show. I never talked during the
Everyone
mixers.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I never talked during the mixers. I was like, I talked, but like not enough for like,
Yeah, you're
you know.
very quiet. Were you
Yeah, I was
someone
so
who,
shy and nervous.
and I apologize if I'm mixing you with Junior or
Yeah. No
Ken,
worries. It happens all the
because
time.
all of y'all with some tall motherfuckers, so I could.
Yeah, right.
So I'm just like, hold up, who's everyone's? I'm 4'10", so it's just like. I'm like, which one? But I think I think it was you, and you said that you're more a physical touch person. You're not a talker. Was that
Oh,
you?
yeah. Yeah, that was me. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I'm not a
think that
talker.
was a conversation you were having with Ramon and
Mhm.
Ashmal, which makes sense because a lot of people are like that. And that's not a bad thing at all. I
Mhm.
definitely value physical touch, but I'm also an affirmation person. So I'm just going to be like, do
Mhm.
you love me? Do you
Yeah,
love
yeah. Same. That reassurance. I love a good affirmation. Okay. I love it.
What challenges have you faced just being a black man and in this lifestyle, being who you are, just coming out as queer? Like, what has been your biggest challenges in that?
Acceptance from people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I feel like a lot of people it's hard for them to accept me as a black person, let alone a black poly gay person. You
Right,
know what I mean?
right.
So I feel like that there's been a lot of me kind of like hiding behind like kind of I think that's probably why I'm so quiet too, because like I feel like I, I don't want to say anything because I don't know what they're gonna like what the reactions are gonna to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I guess that and like just judgment. Like I feel like a lot of people judge people these days. You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
like they brought back the judgment. I remember it went away for a little bit, but like it's
Yeah.
back. Like
It went away
bullying and
when
judgment, they brought it back.
I missed the era when it went away.
Right. I remember when like no judgment zone and all this was like on the rise, and
Yeah.
people were like starting to do that, but then they just said, "Fuck that, I'm going right back." It's
Mm-hmm.
just like bullying. People are bullying people all the time now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like cyberbullying is like if you look at the comments on people's things, it's terrible.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you bullying this person saying that they look like this, they look like that? It's so wrong. But and that's one of my biggest fears is like kind of getting, being as big as I am, I can still be bullied. You know what I mean? Like being bullied for like who I am or like cyberbullied or talked about. Like one of my biggest fears was after the show released, one of my biggest fears was the things people were going to say about me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I thought they were going to just like just bash me because I went on the show way heavier than like I usually am. So like, like my confidence wasn't there, not because I was heavy body positivity, but it's because I just wasn't who I thought I should be in that moment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons why I was so kind of like self-conscious and quiet and this and that. But some of the comments, I thought the people was talking about me like to the fullest. I was so nervous when the show came out.
Um,
But I haven't gotten any bad feedback at all.
That's good.
I
That's
know,
really
thank God.
good. And I can't imagine anyone giving you like bad feedback. You were absolutely lovable on there. And I totally felt like you handled yourself with such grace and dignity. And you were so understanding that I was like, I want him to be my
I know.
boyfriend. Like, so sweet. Like, and I think we all of our hearts broke with you when they picked Jonathan to come back, because I can tell that that was just one of those moments where you're like, damn, like I really wanted to
Yeah.
get somewhere and get be given the opportunity to get there.
Hey, mind you, that whole thing was blindsided. Like I never
Oh
that
yeah.
whole thing. We had no idea that was going to happen. Like
So
I'm thinking that we're.
what was the energy leading to up to that? Do you think that you were for sure like not?
No, the energy I get, like the energy. What they don't see, or what they don't show is that Jonathan, Ramon, and Ashmal, they'll all be kind of like before that led up to that. They be talking like they'll have private conversations, and they're hugging and they're kind of just like talking, vibing out. And I'm like,
Yep.
hmm.
You just out here in the wind, like
I'm just out here sitting down, like, wait, like they're having private
someone
conversations. I
communicate
was
with
like, well,
me.
obviously they still like him, huh?
Yeah, you're probably like somebody communicate with me.
Right. So when I saw that, I was like, obviously they still, obviously they still like him. Ramon's not pissed off at him anymore,
Hmm.
which isn't a good thing for me. But and and also a lot of people were saying online, why didn't I fight, or like why didn't I like say something or do something? You gotta realize when you're in that situation, it is so awkward, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, I'm not a pick me bitch. You know
No,
what I mean?
nah.
Like I'm not gonna be like,
Right.
well, what about me? No, I'm gonna
Right.
sit
Have
here
you
and like,
seen me? Like,
right. You can watch me float away, okay? Because I'm pretty sure I can get somebody else.
right.
But but in the moment I wanted to be with them. But like, so I was emotional about it. But leading up to that moment, that random moment that just happened, that last recoupling, I was shocked. But I can see it was coming because their conversations with each other, and kind of you kind of get in your head about that. You're like, they probably still like each other. And I was like, oh, okay, we're doing this. They're definitely not picking me. So.
Yeah. Oh,
Mhm. It wasn't that sad. It wasn't that sad. It was like, oh, Frank.
well, of course, they got the sad music playing over
I
it.
know. I was like, y'all are
From home,
wild.
we're
I was
like,
like,
he's heartbroken.
right.
Yeah.
And no, and first of all, let me clear this. I wasn't crying strictly because the boys didn't pick me.
Right.
You know, I'm just a very, very, very
Emotional.
emotional, kind, loving person. You know what I mean? So I was crying more so because of other connections that I made on the show. Also, like
Mhm.
Brittany and Sean, Corey Wilder, before they left. Everybody. Darian,
Mhm.
everyone that was in the house, Jonathan, even.
Right.
I was like, am I ever going to see them again? Like it's like
Um,
it's bittersweet. You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
I can really like had genuine connection with everybody, and we all still talk to this day. But thank God. But that's really the reason why I was crying. And I told the people to do the interviews. I was like, I walked in there not crying. I was like, do not say you're going to miss me. Don't say anything nice about me
Oh,
until after.
they're producing you.
Right. Until after
They want the
but they
emotions.
worked it out of me. I'm literally crying.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I loved it, like it.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything shameful about that. Actually, I think that was one of the most beautiful moments where I like really connected with you, because I was just like, I get that. Like, I understand that feeling, and
Mhm.
I just wanted to give you a hug, because I was like,
Um,
and yeah, I saw the blindsiding there. I saw that because I can imagine you weren't privy to a lot of the conversations that were being
mhm,
had around you,
mhm.
and and what was being told to you is that, like, yeah, we're connecting, we want to continue
Yeah,
this, and what they were saying to you and what we were hearing them say between each other was very different.
it was different. Yeah,
And
it
I
was
think
wild.
that's a challenge in poly, which is why I say, like,
polyamory is definite. There's a huge learning curve because as people in this day and age, we are not conditioned to be polyamorous. We're conditioned to be monogamous. Monogamy is a very colonizer infused thing. And so I feel like we are doing a lot of like breaking down and healing and unlearning just being poly people and how we're understanding how we love and how we want to be loved back. And
Mm-hmm.
I think honesty is probably one of the most difficult things for people when they're first starting, especially if you're starting in a setting with a partner, because the last thing you want to do is hurt your partner. And so I think that people probably lie more by omission than they
Mm-hmm.
do
Yeah.
by, actually directly saying a lie.
Mm-hmm. Like lying just to like not hurt the person.
Right. Right.
Yeah, but like, why not just tell the truth? You know,
Right.
like I would have been
I'm the
left that
same
day.
way. I'm like, please just tell. I'm gonna
Right,
hurt anyway. Like, so because I'm
right,
a sensitive ass bitch.
right. You gonna make me
Like,
cry
I'm going
again?
to probably cry anyways. So, like, tell me so then I can not lose it later and knowing
Hmm.
that you put me through all this stuff to like hide it
Right.
from me. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and I mean there's just a whole new way of being. I think it really enhances your character and how you see yourself because dating polyamorously is really a fully connected thing. It's not
Hmm.
just people having multiple partners and having sex with anything. Like, there's probably more commitment expected in polyamory because you have to keep multiple people's needs in mind.
Hmm.
And so there's always got to be this high level of communication and rawness and
Hmm.
ability to be vulnerable and tear down, whatever pride or ego or anything that you have in
Jealousy and all that. Yeah.
jealousy and to confront that head on. And I think people who have been through those experiences, like, I think we're so strong because we've gone through those experiences and we know ourselves and we know our partners in a way that is very, I think, is just taken for granted and is often seen through a negative lens because people think that non-monogamy means cheaters, and that's not true.
It's totally not true. You know, I've always wondered, like, what events led up, because monogamy obviously hasn't been the thing forever. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I've always wondered, like, if I was like a fly on the wall or a saber-toothed tiger on the wall,
Yep.
like, what events led up to people saying, okay, it's just me and you now?
White
Like,
people.
how selfish.
Let me see. White people, Christianity came into
Right.
play. Like, this is what the
Like,
Bible said that they went over to the black land, Africa, and they're like, yo,
like,
y'all either do this or we kill you. So there wasn't really much of a like choice in the matter. We just like, oh, okay, I guess I do believe you now. Like, if you're gonna take my whole life and family.
right. And I feel like that's how marriage was invented too, kind of like the joining of two, you know,
Yeah.
kind of like,
Yep.
so kind of like tied the bow on monogamy. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like, oh, I look to get married, so I have to do it this way. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, not in this house.
How has your journey on the show shaped your views on love, relationships, and self acceptance, especially in the context of mental health and well being?
Well, you know, so they don't show a lot, but I put myself out there more than I've ever did in my entire life on
Hmm.
on international TV. You know what I mean? And
Right.
which made it even harder. So like, and me actually, because like in the real world, I would never step forward for somebody like once, let alone multiple times. You know what I mean? You
Hmm.
know, so me doing that, and thank God they didn't show it all the time, but I step forward every time, and it said speeches and stuff too. So I'm like, I'm literally putting myself out there for these guys,
Right.
and it definitely
Yeah.
humbled me a little bit, and it taught me that like, you know, it's okay to like be vulnerable. It's okay to put yourself out there. It's okay to like, be who you are, date who you want to date, and actually explore polyamory the way you want to explore it. You don't have to jump into it. You can do it however the fuck you want to do it. You know what I mean? I think it's really shaped the way I am, like mentally too. Like mentally, like I'm ready to like tackle it on now. At first I was kind of like thinking about it, doing this, but going on the show, like I said, I realized that this is something that I'm actually interested in doing. And although it didn't work out in my favor, I definitely still am definitely consider myself poly and definitely enter another relationship. So it's definitely molded my mindset like that.
Since the show, have you been in a throuple like situation or pursued that?
A throuple like situation?
Mm-hmm.
You mean like a threesome? I'm kidding.
Well, not a threesome,
Yeah.
Frank. Those are very different things.
Yes.
There's
I'm kidding. No, no, I know.
and being poly.
Right. I actually just found out the term unicorn. I was like, what is a unicorn? But
Yeah.
a lot of people say we were unicorns on the show. I was like, okay.
Well, yeah, that's what a lot of people. I think the
Mhm.
polyamorous community in general judges, the show pretty harshly because obviously there was things that they could have done better. The fact that it was so couple focused, I think, is
Mhm.
one of like the most toxic things in our community. And that's something that I think a lot of us are trying to like break down and unlearn and to be able to enter relationships to be and being fair with all of our partners regardless of how long they've been in our lives or part of our lives. And I
Mhm.
think that that's one of the reasons why like it is definitely important that we are explaining things and we're saying like this is the difference. I feel like we get such a bad rep, just being poly. If you could go back and give your younger self advice, like let's say go back to Frank, who is 14, 15 years old, what would you tell him if you could have a conversation with him right now?
If I can go back to 14-year-old Frank, this is kind of funny. I'm trying to be serious, but I'm just not a serious person. But like,
That's so
if I could go back to the 14-year-old Frank that was looking up hairy gay man on the internet, I'll tell him that it's okay that you like this.
this is
There's nothing wrong with it. You don't have to delete the cheat every single time.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you don't have to try to delete this out of your life. Like this is who you are. This is what you like.
Right.
I used to tell myself when I was about 14 that I would never ever marry a man
Mm-hmm.
until I got old enough to date a man and got engaged. You know what I mean? So it's like if I could tell him, just stick to who you are, embrace who you are, and grow who you are
Mm-hmm.
as a person. Like nester that feeling and just feel it. Like don't try to hide it.
I love that.
To answer your other question, I have not been in a throuple sister show.
Okay. Is
I've
that
been
something
single.
you want?
I would definitely be interested in a throuple, but I feel like I would want it to be organic, where so it's I wouldn't want to enter another couple right off the bat. You know what I mean? Especially if that couple's not solid,
Right.
because we did that before.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of want to like I'm not saying date one person and then we enter another person. That'll take forever.
Mm-hmm.
But this stuff, like I said, the couple is solid. Their foundation is great. They're great. They wouldn't mind me hanging out with him by myself or vice versa. Of course.
Right. I think that's
Mhm.
beautiful. So, what is next for Frank?
What is next for Frank? Let's see. Let's hopefully I get on the challenge or the traders.
Oh, cool.
So we'll see. Maybe that's nestering up. I don't know yet, but it might happen. You
Let
know?
me know. I'm gonna watch.
How you
It'd
guys
be
are friends?
great to see you back on TV and to
Oh,
definitely get to know you better. Like you're a whole vibe. Like you definitely
oh,
to like speak up more and be heard because I think that and this is why I wanted to connect with you because like
mhm.
I feel like there's so much that the reality TV storytelling misses, and they're focused on a lot different things.
Yeah, but because like what people don't see also, which is why me and Ashmal got along so well, because we're both goofballs. Like
Yeah.
you cannot take us seriously at all. Okay, like there was one time, actually my first night in the house. I'm like laying in the bed, we're about to go to sleep, and I tell these guys, they asked me if I want to be Big Spoon or Little Spoon. And I was like, Big Spoon. And then he was like, who the fuck is going to Little Spoon your ass? Who wants to go to Big Spoon your ass? And I was like, oh shit. And then that night, I told them, right before we went to sleep, I told them I have night terrors. I was like, all right, guys, let me tell you guys right now, I have night terrors. I get up and I start beating up the person next to me. And I do this. And they're like, maybe you should get on the...
Like, so maybe you need to be on
like,
the end.
They're terrified. They're like, are you serious? I was
Gonna
like,
drop kick us in the middle of the night.
yeah, we just joked all the time. It was so fun. You know what I mean?
Wow. If
So we
you
have a lot.
had the opportunity to now, because I know that at least what we read at the end of the season was that they broke up. Would you be open to dating Ashmal now?
I feel like Osman was a great person. I definitely would be able to be into dating Ashmal, but I feel like the long distance thing, because he's in Chicago. And like I told you, I'm a physical touch. I'm a touch
Right.
and kind of like affirmation. So I don't think I can do a long distance relationship.
Right.
But if he lived in LA, yeah.
Ah, okay. Nice.
Or I can just fly him out.
We
Get him
just
flown
got to
out.
work towards that. We got to make that dental hygienist money
I know.
so we can fly people out. It's expensive being poly.
It is. You gotta fly two people out. Shit.
Right? People don't talk about that enough. This shit's expensive.
Right?
Catches during the holidays. We are stressed.
Right. I know. You gotta buy all kinds of gifts.
Oh man. I just want to thank you so much for like coming on and talking to me, because I think that I got so much a clearer view and idea of like what you experience in the couple to throuple setting. And I love that. I love being able to get to know you and getting to know the person behind, what we're seeing on the screen. And I loved who you were, and and who you are. That definitely shines through. Like you're very enigmatic, and I'm excited to like see what happens next for you. So keep in touch, because
Thank you.
this is just a really cool situation, I think, to meet you in, and I'm just excited to see like where things go for you. So
thank you. You've been great. Thank you for inviting me to the show. I had a great time talking with you, and yeah, I definitely will keep in touch.
Awesome. So this has been another episode of Unapologetically Anxious Me, Confessions of a Haitian Girl. Until next time, bye. Oh, perfect.
Yeah.